Hello everyone. I think you can hear me. Yes, my mic seems to be giving feedback. We'll start the stream in 3 minutes. I just need to get in the call that we have scheduled. Grabbing a drink as well. Okay. Go to this. Go to save this. Find us on Google Meets. For those of you here about the prize question, that will be about halfway through the stream. We're going to start with a full playthrough of the episode. The link should be here. Let's see. Join. All right. Hey there, Bill. Things are excellent. I think we are already live. I'm just checking to see. We only have no visuals, only audio right now. Can you just say something for a second? Okay. No, that means I need to tweak my mic feedback. So, for those of you on live stream, you are not hearing Bill right now, who is an actor for this episode of Nights in Shanghai. We also don't have visuals. yeah, but it's not giving me feedback from my mic, so that means I need to this. OBS can be a little finicky. Can you say something, Bill? And now still no feedback. Still no feedback. Yes. System audio. Okay. Can you say something now? No. What's going wrong here? This wouldn't, of course, be a Kaiserreich cinema live stream. Hey, Marcus. Speakers video. I'm trying to fix my my audio device. I think I got it. Whenever OBS Streamlabs, which is a software that we use for streaming, updates, it tends to like throw off all your audio mappings, and then you get like a bunch of weird stuff happening.
Fun. Hey, Walter.
I think I got you. Can you guys say something?
Hello.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Let me check that on stream. I'm trying to fix my. Yeah. Okay. So I'm seeing green bars all across, which means we are pretty much ready for the live stream. One final thing I want to open before we get started is probably the thumbnail. Okay.
Fun. Hey, Walter.
So, right, I am going to take us live. It's been a while since I used OBS, so I'm trying to. I need full camera. Okay, here I am. Hello everyone, and welcome to the second live stream, I think, this year of Kaiserreich Cinema. We are premiering Nights in Shanghai episode 2 today, which is the second episode to our audio drama series set in the Legation Cities, and I am welcoming all our wonderful actors. So you guys are going to be on screen right now. Wonderful cast and crew that we have for this particular episode. Let's see who's here. So maybe we can go do a quick introduction and then we'll just play the episode. Bill, could you start? You're top left on my screen.
Yeah, sure. Bill McDonough. I hail from New Jersey.
Welcome, Bill. So, Bill plays Inspector Hong in this episode. Some of you may recognize Bill also as the voice of Agent Peterson in the Divided States episode 1. He plays a different character in Nights in Shanghai. Marcus Jorgensen, who are you playing?
Hi, Mark Johnson. I'm the writer. I plays the writer. Yes, that's my role.
So also welcoming our new actress for Mei Chen. I told you guys there was a recasting, so that's Li Min. Welcome, Li.
Hi, I'm Li. Nice to meet you.
So she's
Nice to
playing
meet you too.
Mei Chen in this episode, and for future episodes, Macy will be playing other female actor leads that we're looking at, but probably starting in episode 3. Then, of course, we have Walter Lutch, the man that started the series in many ways, as we felt his voice could, there was a really cool character behind that. Could you introduce yourself, Walter?
Hey everybody, my name is Walter Lutch, and yes, I play Frank Duncan, the Comprador.
All right, and finally we have Gabriel Matsakis, also director and writer of this episode. Can you tell us a little bit about this particular episode, Gabriel? I think you're muted.
Gabriel's mute.
Yep.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yep.
Wonderful. So, originally we wrote the first episode of this series, which is already out and has been out for a while, as a single thing. It was supposed to be kind of a one-off, maybe as part of a series where we'd kind of explore lots of different locations. We'd never returned to Frank Duncan, possibly, at all. But we made the call last year to try to, do something with him again, to do an episode 2. This is what came out of it. There's going to be more of these episodes too, so it's going to be a whole series where we're going to get to follow Frank Duncan through his whole story, which we are still in the process of mapping out. But it's a work in progress.
Yeah, we have a section of episode 3 written and rough notes on episode 4. It basically becomes a spider web of gangs and plot-wise that we want to trace. We'll figure it out when we get there, which is our Guys Get Cinema official line. All right, I would say without further ado, everyone is here for that premiere of the second episode. I'm gonna play that file. That means mics are going offline. We can have a free chat in the meantime. People will not be able to hear us, so wait for my signal. I need to press the correct button, which is always a challenge. And the button is...
By mid-December, it seemed like the Japanese had given up whatever game they'd been playing. Mere weeks after he'd appeared, Mr. Shiro just went and vanished from city streets, bars, and tea houses. At least, so far as I could tell. Maybe the Japanese had found someone to do their dirty work. But even if they did, well, they were playing with a losing hand. Only I could do what they wanted, how they wanted it, or so I like to think. Like that, the Japanese job became just another story. A mystery told at parties and across hotel bars. A curiosity confined to memory. At least, for a while. For me, it was back to business as usual. Or at least as close as I could get, given the season. As the cold finally set in across the northern plain and up the Yangtze, most business slowed to a crawl. Hell, Manchuria had been frozen over since November. Shanghai was still as bright and bustling as ever, but yours truly had to find another way to spend the extra time. And the extra cash. Some might have turned to the more visceral vices. They sure didn't call Shanghai the whore of the Orient for nothing. Myself, though, I found another calling. Another sort of business, more to my taste. Now, if I were a real high roller, I might have gone all in at the race club or the canadrome, bet on a hound or a horse with a lucky name. A step down, and I might have mingled with the crowds at the Fusheng for roulette or Peugeot. Me, I preferred things down a few more steps, followed by what most of my countrymen would have called a tumble into the gutter. I spent my leisure time away from the bright lights, down an alley off Kaifeng Street, in an establishment known mostly jokingly as Li Fa Dian, the barbershop, after the street shaver who hawked his trade at the alley entrance. There, with a close-knit crowd of regulars, you didn't have to worry about getting cheated, at least not in the usual institutional fashion. See, catching the other kind of cheating, the honest under-the-table kind, was just part of the game, at least That's how I saw things.
哎，对，等等，你以为得了便宜，我们就这么轻易的让你走了？
Oh, come on, buddy. I had no idea that card was there. Others didn't always agree. Sometimes their arguments could be pretty persuasive. That's how I found myself flat in the mud off Kaifeng Street in late December 1935.
小子他妈敢作弊，真是不知好歹！臭崽子作弊不服，还想打架？
Hey, you gave me a good swing. Let's leave it at that, huh?
Alright, boys, game's over. He's coming with me.
哎，跑什么？咱还没聊完呢。
My Chen. Yours is the last face I'd expected to see. What the hell are you doing here?
Looking for the great Joshua Duncan. And, apparently, saving his ass too.
Hey, I was handling it. And it's Frank, to my friends. Assuming that's what you are.
Sure. Why not?
And you found me... how, exactly?
The barber. He keeps an eye on things. Now come on, I'm not being paid to hang around. The car's waiting. You'll need it somewhere.
Why?
You'll find out soon enough, and... Hey, I think you owe me one, Duncan. Besides, don't you trust me?
To be honest, not really.
Look, Duncan, if I wanted you dead, I would have let your friends have their way and finished you off later.
Fine. My Chen was an old acquaintance, though not so old that it meant much. Over the past several years, she'd appeared on and off at some of my usual haunts, like the Yanyu or along the Bund, usually staying only long enough to pass on some message or other. Young and attractive, she always caught someone's eye, but rarely the suspicious kind. The most reliable rumors, which weren't very reliable, made her out as the daughter of some shipping magnate, or by a second or third concubine. I'd always figured Chen for an informant, but I hadn't guessed she could drive.
Looks like you picked up quite a bruise back there.
Can't fault his aim. Does it at least add to my roguelike charm?
I heard you nearly got one just like it a few weeks back. They run in with some German officer.
Lieutenant Gluck? Yeah, he's a nut. A real asshole.
Oh, soul or angel. Seems you were really going out on a limb. Honestly, my employer respects a stand like that, but picking fights with German officers doesn't seem so healthy to me.
Yeah, well, you're not exactly my doctor now, are you, Chen?
No, but I didn't nearly get beaten up in a dark alley either. You know, word is, there's going to be a few more Germans wandering around next year. They're boosting the garrison.
Great. Some more Japanese, too, sooner or later.
Word is, the Germans are going to try something. Kick the Japanese out of town.
I wouldn't buy it. This is Shanghai. Someone starts something here and they'll have the whole of Washington down on their heads faster than you could say Jack Robinson. Besides, it'd be bad for business.
Never said I believed it, but you never know either. The political winds can turn on a dime. Now, you want to clean yourself up a little. We're almost there, Duncan.
When we pulled up to Ladlow's Casanova, I wasn't exactly thrilled. A neon-studded lower-class outfit, the club brought in the opposite of my usual clientele. Soldiers, sailors, and middle-class Chinese. Whatever business we were walking into, its chances of being over the table were dropping by the minute. Like any club anywhere, the Casanova was thick with cigarette smoke, the bar abuzz. On a stage against the far wall was the night's main act, an all-female song and dance, their tinsel streamers spinning and sparkling in the limelight. Glowing lamps at scattered tables illuminated all kinds of food, drink, and half-lit faces, talking, drinking, smoking, or simply watching, enraptured as the dancers twisted and twirled. One such table was our destination, larger and set aside. I assumed the man sitting there was my prospective employer, but something else caught my eye. An old Hama sat one seat over, asleep. countless drinks and platefuls of picked-out food in front of her. Strange. Few men brought their mothers to a nightclub.
Here he is, Mr. Ainsworth. Found him right where you said he'd be.
Thank you for bringing him, Miss Chen. Please, sir, take a seat.
Thanks. Now what's this all about? I'm not so keen on getting dragged halfway across town without an explanation.
Then you'll be pleased to learn that this is a fairly straightforward matter. You owe quite a substantial debt, I'm afraid, which we cannot allow to remain unpaid.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. Now, if we could just arrange a currency and method of transaction, the total sum of your debt comes down to a couple of...
As soon as the word debt passed his lips, I knew this was just some fraudster's idea of a shakedown. I talked my way out of worse, and even the Casanova wasn't the kind of place anyone could afford to get violent. While he blabbed, my eyes wandered, eventually settling on the stage. Those dancers really were a buxom bunch, with tight-fitting costumes absent in all the right places.
Next, we'll be hearing from the magnificent Swinging Sevens. Come on out, boys.
It sure was disappointing to see the girls prance off stage.
操你妈的，老子才不要看他们！快他妈给我把美女带回来！
Now give it up for the Sevens. This man from...
看到了吧？这就是跟老子相对话。
My heart almost skipped a beat. The man who just shot the Casanova's host was one of the most vicious and violent warlords in China. This lunatic, called Zhang Songchang, was said to have the body of an elephant, the brain of a pig, and the temperament of a tiger. Zhang was known for splitting his enemies' heads like melons and hanging others from telephone poles. Unfortunately, my debt to him was very, very real. It wasn't the kind of money I had under the mattress. But frankly, given the man's wealth and complete disregard for the size of his own wallet, I thought he'd never collect.
哎呦，邓肯！哈哈哈哈哈！哎呀，你这个样子是跟人打架去了吗？
My employer asked...
Yeah, I know what he's asking. Yeah, I got in a fight.
不错嘛，你打赢了。
是的, I won all right. Right, Chen?
没错。
去他娘的债吧！这活就交给他了。对，就让他跟姓孙的一起做。
Of course.
By now, the panicked crowd had cleared out, leaving just the five of us around the table. For a desperate moment, I hoped the police would break up whatever this was. A man had just been shot in plain sight, after all. Maybe I could make a getaway. From the corner of my eye, I saw two police officers quietly shuffling out. Sure enough, they disappeared into the night rather than face Zhang. So much for that, then. Zhang, casually as ever, stowed his pistol, sat down alongside his mother, and started tearing into a plate of chicken. The host was being dragged away by two stagehands, moaning, leaving a thin trail of blood. Nobody said a word. So, you need me to do a job? What kind of job?
My employer recently lost a wager with League Marshal Sun Chongfang. And recently...
Yeah, I heard. Look, I'm a comprador, not some kind of hired gun. Besides, going up against the smiling tiger in his own den would be as good as a death sentence. I'll pay what you want, when you want, and then we can go our separate ways. Deal? I was lying, of course. The kind of money I owed Zhang, I didn't have. But I was running out of options, and fast.
Sir, even if that were a possibility, I wasn't finished. As I'm sure you're aware, gambling over mere money would have been meaningless to both gentlemen. Instead, they bet against the contents of their hotel suites. The monetary loss was, of course, immaterial. But a wound pride is not so easily remedied. The job my employer is offering you is to arrange the return of the entire contents of the Cathay Hotel's Japanese suite. Most items are already on the open market. I have a comprehensive printed list right here.
One custom-marked and gold-plated presentation saber, 3 Blue Parade uniforms with affixed medals, 15 tatami mats. Hold on. What's this number 1 scribbled in at the end?
I'm sure you'll discover that information as you proceed with your search, sir. In exchange, your debt will be forgiven, of course, alongside a generous bonus in silver. However, I should warn you, several parties have already been set to the same task, all with a substantial lead. Your chances could be better.
I'll bet you've hired a bunch of gumshoes. Maybe Green Gang thugs, bumbling Russian mercenaries.
I really couldn't say. But if betting were your strong suit, Mr. Duncan, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Touché. Tell me, what happens if everything goes sideways?
We have a few options. None of them are good for you.
My attention drifted over to Shang, still cheerfully tearing into a plate of chicken, apparently oblivious to our conversation. Next to him, his mother continued snoring away. There was something about the warlord's eyes. Too much white. Felt like staring at a hungry lion. After weighing my odds, I turned back to the representative. Well, good thing it won't come to that. Knowing all there is to know in this city is my job. I can find what you need, no trouble. But first, I need some guarantees.
I think you're overselling your position, sir. I'm offering you the job as is, and that's final. Either you take it here and now, or I cannot guarantee the continued good behavior of my employer. What will it be?
Fine. Consider it done.
Excellent. Good day, Mr. Duncan, and best of luck to you. Don't keep us waiting.
Walking away from the Casanova that night, I started considering my options. It was all just a little too perfect. First, the Germans show up and get uppity. Then the Japanese start offering jobs. Now Zhang Songchang himself popped up in Shanghai to collect a debt he'd probably long since forgotten. Ever had the creeping sense that the board is being moved around you, and you just can't see it? That night in Shanghai, I wasn't a player. I was being played. What I didn't know was who was moving the pieces.
Mr. Hong?
It's late, miss. And I'm not in the mood for an infidelity case. You want an inspector? Go through the front desk.
This is not a marital affair, Mr. Hong. My name is Louise Lacroix. I'm here about your son.
My son? I haven't seen him in 3 months.
He's being hunted by the German consular police, and that means military intelligence too.
I said I hadn't seen him. I can guess well enough what he's up to. You know what? While I'm at it, I'm gonna guess some more. You work for the Commune of France. They've got you working for the KMT, and you want something from me. Is that right?
Exactement. In the coming days, you will receive a call from a comprador called Frank Duncan. You must feed him some information. Nothing more.
What makes you think you can ask for anything? Anything at all? After you ruined my son's life in the pursuit of some pipe dream. You weren't here during the 32 uprising, I'll bet, Miss Lacroix. Suzhou Creek was clogged with bodies, swollen and black. A smell like you wouldn't believe. Over at North Station, they were throwing KMT into locomotive fireboxes like tinderwood. Some were still alive. The syndicalist revolution died then and there, miss. My son just doesn't know it yet. Nor, apparently, do you.
The KMT has been dealt a blow, yes. But an idea is not so easily killed, Inspector. Your son knows this. He is a freedom fighter, a hero. You should be proud of him.
And how exactly do you syndicalists see this playing out? Another revolution? A KMT government in Beijing? An end to imperialism in Asia? Has it occurred to you who I work for?
You work for money. Anyone who'll pay. At least, that's what your son says.
It's not that simple.
Then show me, Inspector Hong. And show your son. What I'm asking for is a trifling affair.
I've known Duncan for years.
It's just information, Inspector. You falsify reports, destroy evidence, cover up murders, all for the Green Gang. What I'm asking of you is harmless in comparison. Besides, it's not like the Commune of France can't pay for your services.
Fine. I'll pass Duncan the information, but I think you've got me wrong, Miss Lacroix.
Ever now.
Thanks to people like you and your ideas, one day I'm gonna lose a son. That's something I've come to terms with. It's his choice. His life. But my grandkids, they're 6 and 8. They're gonna lose a father. That's why I do what I do, Miss Lacroix. The least I can do is take from you and give to them.
If that's what helps you sleep at night, Inspector, who am I to disagree? I'll see myself out.
What have you gotten yourself wrapped up in this time, Frank Duncan?
Thank you all for watching or listening to the second episode of Nights in Shanghai. Nights in Shanghai is an audio drama series set in the old history world of Kaiserreich. In Kaiserreich, a German victory in the Great War ends up collapsing the British and French colonial empires, completely altering the balance of power in Europe and beyond. I am Vincent Anil, one of the directors at Kaiserreich Cinema and an illustrator during my daylight hours. In response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine and in support of our Ukrainian crew members, we are now running a Ukraine Red Cross fundraiser on our webshop. My microphone, hello, everyone will be able to hear me. And then we have music. If you guys on live stream chat are not hearing anything correctly, having audio issues, I am on a monitor so I cannot fully hear everything. Let me know and I'll fix it. First off, before we get into Q&A with the crew and actors, Gabriel, maybe it's time for the prize question, which I think you should deliver.
Oh, sure. Let me quickly see our DMs and find it again, because I forgot what it is. Oh, there it is. All right. Hopefully somebody gets it.
I think that somebody's gonna get, like, people are here for the Legation Cities, right? We're deep lore now.
Hopefully, otherwise I have to think of something off the top of my head.
Gabriel checking his Discord DMs.
I found it. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Actually, I should take my dimmer off so that's good. There we go. It's a little brighter. So the prize question: we are giving away one poster paper print of Gabriel and the China Reworks team amazing China map. And the answer will have to be emailed to me. You know where to find me, of course, as long-standing members and gentlemen of this club of select livestream listeners and viewers. And the question is...
Okay. What American politician plays a prominent role in the Shanghai Conference of 1928?
One more time. What American politician plays a prominent role in the Shanghai Conference of 1928? I got that right?
1928.
Okay. What American plays a prominent role in the Shanghai Conference of 1928? First person to email me the answer to that gets a free China map. I'm gonna put it in chat as well. What is the name of the American politician?
Prominent American politician. Plays a role in the Shanghai Conference in 1920.
Politician who plays a role in the Shanghai Conference of 1928. Email me the answer. First email. That is correct. Gabriel, could you tell us a little bit more about Nights in Shanghai? We have now just seen technically listened to the second episode of Nights in Shanghai called The Casanova Caper. Where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, in part, that's a good question because, as we were discussing earlier, that's something we're still sort of figuring out. We have part of a script written for the next episode. We have an idea of where we're going to go from there, but it's very much one of these things where we're kind of figuring out as we go. So, as everybody who just watched the episode will know, we've kind of ended on a little bit of a cliffhanger here where our protagonist is kind of in a risky situation. Because the thing to understand here, if it wasn't clear already in the episode, is that Zhang Zongchang, the warlord here, the Dog Meat General, he's a really nasty piece of work, and there's a chance that he might just forget about this whole thing, just like the debt that was originally owed to him, or he could get upset after a couple weeks and come after Frank and have him killed. So there's definitely pressure. There's kind of an unclear time schedule here, just how much time he has. To complete his task, and there's also competition, right? There's other groups that have been hinted at that are also interested in completing the job as well. So it's all kind of up in the air. I can tell you we're going to see something from those other groups. We're going to see the sort of subplot that's happening here, which was hinted at towards the end, where we have some other characters playing a role, including Hong, who is quite an interesting character. Definitely going to see some more of him too. But I'm not going to give away where the rest of the story goes, because otherwise you wouldn't watch it.
Okay. So we have a few of the new actors and a few returning faces. I think most of you will recognize Bill, and they will also recognize Walter Mutch, of course, from previous projects. But we also have Eli Min with us and a few other faces who aren't here today. That is George Yuze, I'm not sure if I'm wrong, but Yuze Liu. And we have Emily Serdal, who you also know, but she plays a side character in the first episode of... also in the Kaiserreich documentary, she does a monologue. So she's been doing like odds and ends, and she will be playing a few more prominent roles in both the Divided States and Nights in Shanghai. Eli Min, could you introduce yourself? Talk about your role in this project.
Hi, I just had a sneezing fit. I'm so sorry. I just had tears running down my face. That's not due to the recording, that's just me. Anyway, so hi, my name's Eli Min, and I guess you could say I'm responsible for the character of Mei Chen in Nights in Shanghai. And I came in as a recast, so I had a lot of pressure on my shoulders. I can't lie, because everyone else's voices were already done, finished, and audio master, and I obviously had to do my part on my own. So I ended up listening to everyone else's parts like so many times. I just ended up simping for everyone's voices. I think everyone just did such a good job, and no pressure, I suppose. And for example, voices sang, I could literally see him doing his boisterous voice, and I could see it, and then I could see him doing that in my head. And you've obviously got the Fixer, who's that sort of classic villain. I almost could see him rubbing his hands gleefully with a twinkle in his eye. And then you have Inspector Hong, and I loved your sort of emotional bit on your son and your grandkids. And then Louise Dupois, oh my goodness, I really loved the final product, what she did, because it was really different from the original table read. And she did that really nice balance between having a natural kind of sounding French accent, in my opinion. And I think my favorite part of the whole audio episodes, probably the bit when she takes a puff from a cigarette and then she goes exactement. I think that's my favorite bit out of the whole thing. And obviously I can't miss out Duncan. I think your voice was literally the reason why I wanted to audition for Mei Chen in the first place. I was it'd be amazing to work with someone like that. So yeah, there I am.
I do feel Walter, that sort of the wise guy attitude in your voice is an amazing fit. And we knew we didn't. You were already in our I think on our radar, or did you audition for episode 1?
For Frank? No, I think because after Jack, there are a couple different projects that you would specifically email me and be like, hey, give this a shot, and we tried a couple different things, and there were different stuff that was kind of working okay, not as much, and then I think you reached out specifically about this project.
Yeah, it's generally we have two ways of finding voice actors. The one would be the traditional way, where we have large castings, we go back and forth. It's when we don't really know what we're looking for, and we're just trying to find it through auditioning. And then when we went to Nights in Shanghai, we knew, okay, this has to be Walter Rush. I think he's perfect for this role. I think same with Bill coming in for Inspector Hong. I thought that character was added fairly late in writing, so that entire last scene was not originally part of the episode. We were like, we need to introduce a few more characters here, and then that coalesced sort of in Bill coming in. And maybe it's a good segue, Bill, for you to talk about Inspector Hong and talk about, you know, how is he different from Agent Peterson? How is he the same? These are two roles that guys gets in.
Yeah, sure. I mean, just in general, you know, he's kind of that archetypical, you know, 30s, 40s kind of detective, you know, seemingly in some ways kind of, you know, displaced, you know, here in Shanghai. A lot of times, like these type of detectives, you know, he's part of the police force, but he's also part of the other side as well, and probably has some very mixed feelings about both, to be honest. You know, he has some previous workings with Duncan as well, but in general, in terms of, you know, who they are and how they kind of compare, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was kind of thinking about that just before. They're both a little bitter. You know, they both have different approaches to that bitterness. You know, Agent Peterson is definitely more pulled back, more restrained, and maybe a little more philosophical in his approach, whereas Hong is just as bitter, but, you know, I think has a more of a shoot from a hip type of approach for it. But they're very, you know, they're very different characters in somewhat similar situations. They're dealing with things that they have to deal with that might go against what they believe, and they're doing the damn best they can.
So that's William McDonough, Bill, who also plays Hayden Peterson in The Divided States episode 1. For those of you who have not seen The Divided States episode 1, which I hopefully consider a logical impossibility because we've been posting about it every single day ever since that release. But yeah, wonderful work, guys. And also we should definitely mention Luis here and Alberto, who made wonderful illustrations for us in his ink style. I'm gonna actually pull it up. I have a thumbnail here. So beautiful illustrations. I love the depiction of Zhang Zhongchang, and like really that insane idea, like the fact that he's holding this ridiculously large revolver. It's a very perfect depiction of that character. And then Luis for wonderful audio editing. Love the little inflections he's been putting in every scene. There's definitely a lot more detailing in the audio backtrack and sort of the mastering that we've done. And he'll be doing a lot more audio work for us in the future as well. We're trying to step up, you know, the quality of the mastering and the audio projects that we're doing. So you guys can keep an eye out for that one. I have not yet received a response to the question. Maybe it was too hard. Actually, we have before just picked an easier question, but I think we have to keep it deep lore. So if nobody answers it, that's no prize. So that's gonna be for next live stream with a different question. So Marcus,
hello.
Can you talk a little bit about, you know, your part on the writing and the editing, and what do you do at Kaiserreich Cinema?
Hi, Marcus Jorgensen. I'm a director writer at Kaiserreich. For the first episode of Nights in Shanghai, I was originally the editors and the sound editor specifically. Came in on that, and I thought, you know what, I have some opinions to tell in this story. I think I can contribute to this as well. And then I snuck myself into the crew, pretended to be very nice to people, and now I'm a writer as well on the team. I can voice my opinions now. I suppose in terms of what I did for this, it's difficult to see, because I think I tried to push us to change the story in a way that it will never show the light of day, right? We removed a lot of stuff, and I think I was.
I mean, in the end, our writing team for Nights in Shanghai was the three of us, and we go back and forth on a lot of things, which then builds, you know, the strands of story that we're gonna get in Nights in Shanghai, and we'll be seeing more of that in episode 3 and 4. Maybe this episode particularly is a promise, like big things are happening, and this is really a setup and introducing all these new characters. Yeah. It's a little different from our other other show, The Divided Stage, which is obviously a reference we're going to make a lot because the projects do feel similar. Where we came in with a big story from episode 1. This is really where episode 1 was not intended to be anything bigger than a one-off. And then we started thinking about, okay, how can we take this further? We really like the Legation Cities as an environment. We like this art style. We like this, this way of telling stories. And I hope to do more with it as well. I'm just a big fan of, the old BBC radio drama. I think it's something that, really fits our channel aesthetically and creatively. Walter Lutch, finally, we've talked to you and about you a lot of times across various projects, but maybe, for people who are new, can you give us a quick introduction?
Sure, yeah. My name is Walter Lutch, and people would have first seen me in the world of Kaiserreich as the New England Ranger. That was a whole lot of fun, getting that New England accent in there. And then I
keep forgetting that you did that.
Yeah, it definitely was, the first thing, and then there wasn't anything for a while, and then you reached out to me specifically about Smilin' Jack Malone for April Fools the next year, and that was just an absolute blast to get into doing, and then of course, it seems like pretty much I get a new thing with Kaiserreich every year, it's like keep coming back with new stuff, so I'm always excited to see it. Yeah, and in particular, I can't wait to be able to share scenes with Eli and Bill, because I'm excited for the interconnections between our characters. I mean, even in the character description for Frank, it's talking about his connections, and he's that's a lot about what makes him good at his job is his connections. And so knowing, especially getting to interact with these people that he has history with, that he knows, and they know him, they know things about him that maybe he doesn't want other people to know. That's the stuff that really excites me for these future episodes. Getting to really, bite into those things, because episode 1 and episode 2 so far, it's been, episode 1 was him very much at his cockiest and very much kind of running the table, and kind of take this German officer down a peg, and so to flip that on its head for episode 2 and have him legitimately scared about what's going on and feeling lost amongst a whirlwind of things going on. It's a wonder to play. It's a wonder to take that character from his cockiness to having to really be on edge and watch his step. So I'm so excited to share some scenes with my fellow people in Shanghai, and to see where this goes.
So I'm looking forward to future recordings as well. Eli, you did, as you mentioned, miss the table reads, which is generally we do a principal recording. We do that on Livestream, meetings, Google Meets. It gives us a nice way to meet together. Obviously, it doesn't happen often that we have an actor come in so late where you have a fully mastered audio. So we just sent Eli the audio master with Mei Chen's lines cut out, so she just had to play over that. I think the principal recording...
It was difficult.
I can imagine.
The principal recording, doing it synchronous, I think is good, because we've had a lot of really, really good performances come out of those. And then generally what we do is we do a principal recording like this on a Google Meets, and then there's small pickups, small tweaks afterwards, where I just send these short briefing videos. You guys have all seen them by now. And I think we have a very good cast right now. I'm very confident with the pool of voice actors that we found over the years, and we're trying to sort of close it off in the sense that I would like the same voice actors and the same people to come back and work with us more often. You all, of course, mentioned that, Kaiserreich Cinema, unfortunately, is one of those things where we come in and then it's like, we need this project, small project, and then we disappear for 4 months, because that's generally how production goes with us. We're like Divided States, for example, we recorded last year in probably October or something. Maybe even earlier, it was pretty early. And then I need an entire year to draw 300 frames for that episode, and that's only then do we get to think about even further future episodes. So we try and do audio dramas, we try and do the documentaries, and we're gonna try and work more with our existing pool of voice actors. I think we have a good balance right now.
I just want to say thank you for taking me on board, by the way, but especially when it was so late as well. And I also wanted to add on to what Walter just said about being excited about what's going to happen with these characters, how we're going to bring them to life, development and all that. Because in a way, I found it really interesting how you mentioned Duncan being at his cockiest. I feel like in a way, I'm still figuring out my character as well, but in a way I feel like the same with my character as well, because she's obviously from she's in a criminal gang, but there's no real financial incentive for her to be there. So she's obviously doing it for a political reason, or because she's simply out of amusement. And I think that, and through her dialogue with Duncan, you can tell that she's even while she's so aloof, that the whole political climate's obviously had an effect on her as well. And she's mentioned, with the political tides turning, there's going to be a few more Germans. You can't be at your cockiest anymore, Duncan. But also that goes for me as well. I can't just treat this whole thing as my, amusement game or whatever. And also, could I please ask a question on just Kaiserreich in general?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what on earth were you thinking when you did World of Equestria?
Oh, that was...
Just because you mentioned Smiling Jack, and also, how many times did you laugh and have to retake that scene again?
Oh boy, yeah. Recording that episode was a long process. Yeah, lots of retakes, and it was funny because we had different scripts on that one because I think Vincent, you were still thinking about how long you wanted it to be and what elements we wanted to include and not. And so I know I recorded a couple different versions of that.
Yeah, and I remember that.
I think I just went completely Jack Malone on it, and I just kind of rewrote the script a little bit. I did your version, word for word, and then I just was like, okay, this is how Jack would say it, I think, and I just completely rewrote it and added in all this extra stuff. And ultimately, what came out of it was kind of a blend of the two. But yeah, there was one line in particular I actually saved bloopers on my computer because I thought they were so much fun, of me trying a take and failing 4 or 5 different times because I just kept breaking out in laughter.
Yeah, I think so. To answer your question, why World of Equestria? Because friendship is magic, of course. So in short, because you're new to the project, just the basics is that this project started as a mod for a strategy game called Hearts of Iron. And Equestria at War is another mod, and it's another big team, very ambitious guys that I love to talk to, that I love to work with, just wonderful people. I chat with a lot of them, and they do a lot of arts. They have an extremely creative community as well, and that's why for April Fools we tend to do a crossover, which is when we talk and work with another community, and that was one particular April Fools crossover where I was like, hey, you guys have some cool art maybe that we could do. We have this voice actor, I think you're gonna love him, and we made it a little funny, of course, because it's ponies and a little fourth wall breaking. And indeed, Walter came in, added some lines to the script, which I loved, and that's something for everyone that it's 100% open to change the lines and make suggestions to a script. We love that when a character begins interpreting. When an actor begins interpreting a character, and that's generally in film and in everything, when you get the most wonderful and memorable scenes is when the actor just goes off because he's so in the zone. You should see there's a bunch of compilations on that online, but famous movie moments that were not in the script. For example, let's say Wolf of Wall Street, where Matthew McConaughey starts beating his chest and he starts humming. That was not in the script. He just randomly started doing that, and then Leonardo DiCaprio fully with it. And I think that's the hallmark of great actors. He sees it and they go improv. They just start the scene, cameras are rolling, and they just let it be. Let the moment become the moment. Heath Ledger in Batman, the one with the Joker, of course, where he walks away from the hospital and then it's all supposed to blow up in a one go, but it doesn't happen because the actual detonation is the demo guy is a little late, and then he adds that little inflection, which is now so famous, of him sort of pressing the button and looking back and making that scene a little awkward. And those are there's a lot of that stuff out there, and I love that when it happens. That being said, I want to wrap up this live stream. I wasn't intending on making it super long. I think we're not going to be seeing a winner because I'm going through my inbox here and I am not seeing anything.
Can we win the prize?
Unfortunately, no, but as crew, you do get access to 50% discount on the web shop, as well as particular merch that you would like. Just let me know. I generally send a gift to everyone, maybe once a year, everyone on the crew. So you can just drop me an email if you need anything. What I also wanted to say, and that's just generally for the audience, what's happening at Kaiser Cinema right now is, of course, we have the Ukraine fundraiser going on. Of course, we feel very affected for our crew members who are out there. Two of us particularly, who are very directly a part of that conflict. So that part of the webshop, and that is going to be a part of the channel for as long as this conflict, and probably way beyond. So probably, unfortunately, that will mean years, because even after that war, there's going to be rebuilding, and we're going to keep fundraising. We're going to, make it something that we can talk about for us particularly. Those are unfortunately the times we live in. The second thing that I wanted to mention is the next releases. For those of you who are wondering, we have a script written right now, Kaiserreich documentary, episode 5, German Empire. Me and Gabriel were talking about it just before this one. It will also feature Emily Serdahl, maybe Bill, I'm not sure, for a monologue. A little character introduction. We're still casting for 1 or 2 things because we're missing Germans right now. German officers, German spies is what we need. So that should release. I've stopped giving out release dates because we could just go over them every single time.
Oh god, panic.
Soon plus 2 weeks. We're going over the script, so recording should start in the coming weeks, and then you should be seeing that appear. World of Kaiserreich German Empire should follow that. Then World of Kaiserreich Italy, which is also written. Then World of Kaiserreich Commune of France. And that should take us somewhere into the fall season, so that takes us through the summer, and then we start talking about the Divided States, episode 1, part 2 again. Anything you guys would like to add before we wrap up on the live stream?
Oh, I would. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Like, subscribe, and comment down below.
I stopped saying that. It's I was like, no, man, we're gonna fight the system. We're not gonna ask you to like us.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. Obviously that stuff is obvious, right? Like, subscribe, join the newsletter, which is a thing. I think the newsletter is gonna be quite important because it's not a platform that, it's a place for me to write you like an email. I write those myself. It's not like an automatic thing. Once a month, probably less because I don't often have the time, where I just digest everything that's happening. You don't have to see half the information on a tweet every now and then. I prefer email as a method of communication. You're just going on with your life. You can maybe get an email from Kaiser Cinema once every 2 months. It's like, okay, that's going on, all the releases listed, and you can get on with your life. Wonderful. The old media is the best media.
Hologram. Yeah, we'll send you a horse and pony next.
Let's do smokes.
We just sold like 16 flags, and I asked the guy, like, who are you people? Like, why are these flags being sold? And he said someone made a TikTok about it, which got 61,000 views. And I'm like, man, I feel old. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know how this works. Okay, I think that's gonna be it for us, guys. I'm going to. Okay, so finally, I want to thank everyone for listening or watching to Nights in Shanghai, episode 2, talking to the actors. They will be back on this project for a table read, probably when we talk about episode 3. A bunch of other stuff lined up that I just mentioned. As usual, you can find us on various channels. It's all going to be in the links and stuff down below. Thank you all. I wish you a wonderful evening, and I'm going to cut the stream there. See you guys, and until the next one.